If you had known that an opportunity like this presented itself in the Eastern Conference Finals, would you have done anything differently back around the trade deadline or the buyout deadline?
Take my mask off. I think that we tried. Yeah, we tried to do some things at trade deadline. We tried very hard. So I don't think I would do anything different. No. I mean, I think it's a fair assessment of our team that we weren't as strong as we needed to be. I think that we had plenty of depth to get through an Eastern Conference Finals, assuming that we don't have, Gordon and Kemba banged up and Romeo Langford out. But I don't think we would have done anything different. But I think it's a misconception that we didn't make a strong effort to try to improve our team. And two things, in hindsight, it's a little bit different too. I think that, had you known that you were going to have a training camp in between the trade deadline and before the season, that's probably a better question. If you knew you could bring someone in and have an entire training camp with them before they started the playoffs. But I still think the answer would be the same. That, there was a few guys that we were chasing, a few guys that we were trying to add to our roster that we thought could really help us. And we weren't able to get those deals done.
I'm asking about Kemba.
Okay.
He after the game, he said he didn't want to make excuses about his knee. You just mentioned that he was banged up. I mean, what percentage was he playing? And what's his off season like? Is there going to be any sort of surgery or anything like that to get him back to 100%?
So first of all, I don't know the off-season answers yet. We are in the process. Probably over the next week to 2 weeks, we will have a full plan for Kemba in the off-season, regardless of what the medical tests come back and everything else. But there's no surgery needed that I'm aware of at this time. But I wasn't there. I was watching from here. But I could see even when he was here before the bubble started, which is why he was shut down a little bit and was doing strength training and trying to prepare himself for the playoff run and the intensity of the playoff run. But he was definitely not himself. In fairness to Kemba, he doesn't want to say that. He doesn't say that to our coaches. He doesn't say that to you, the media. He doesn't say that to me. I haven't heard one excuse from him, but watching the games, even games we won, even games where he, played well, I could tell he wasn't the same physically as he was in October, November, December. So we're going to try to get that Kemba back. And I know Kemba wants to be back 100% and playing his best basketball. I mean, even not his best, he still averaged 19 or 20 points a game in the playoffs. He's still a really good player, but I think that he's not what he was. And there's nothing more frustrating for an athlete to be on the biggest stage in the world and in your sport and not be able to be yourself. And I've been there before as a player. It's not fun. It's stressful. And Gordon and Kemba, we're trying to do that. I know everybody has, are banged up a little bit this time of year, but I'm just saying those guys were limited on what they could do from what we were used to seeing in them.
When you look at this off season and look at the roster you guys have now, what's the focus of getting better? What areas do you feel like you guys need to improve as you look to retool things a little bit?
Well, I won't tell you specifics, Adam, but we got some work to do. No question about it. And I'm not overreacting to a tough loss to, good opponent. I'm just saying that, there's some things we tried to do, we'd like to do at the trade deadline that we weren't able to do. And I think there's some things I'd like to do now this off season to make our team better. But we have a lot to do.
As you look back on the season, I know it's obviously been a strange one since I think it was a year ago yesterday that you were having media day with us. But What are the biggest things you learned about your team over the course of the year in terms of, as you said, you have a lot of work to do. What did you learn about it, over these past 12 months?
Well, I learned, first of all, I've been very impressed with the, development of our young players and how good they're getting. I think that Jalen and Jason are very special. Marcus played a huge, huge role for us, and it's a great complementary piece for those two guys. I learned how good Kemba and Gordon are when they're healthy, and how good our team is when our team was healthy. But I feel like, there's a lot that we don't know about our team just because the opportunities haven't come for so many of our players that are on our bench. And, we saw Grant finish up pretty strong with a few short minute opportunities. Robert had a good finish to the season. Ennis gave us a big boost at many times throughout the year, and Daniel Tice had a terrific year. So I think there's a lot we learned about each of the individuals and about our team collectively. I think that we learned that we're not good enough.
Tom Westerholm.
Hey, Danny. I know the offseason just started, but I was just wondering what your end-of-season conversations have been like with Jason, specifically if you've had conversations about a potential extension this offseason.
I can't have those conversations yet, with Jason or Gordon or Ennis or, anybody that is like, we'll have to wait till we get till the rules allow us to have conversations. Jason knows how much we like him. We have a good relationship. Jason likes it here. So I'm confident that, we'll be able to work something out this off season, I should say.
Brian Robb.
Hey, Danny. I know there's, a lot of uncertainty in terms of what the cap is going to look like for next year. But you guys, with your salary commitments, depending on opt-ins, have a lot of money committed already towards the cap level. Do you anticipate having the ability to be a tax team next year operating in the tax, or is that, you have to wait to see how things shake out there?
Yeah, we're anticipating being in the tax next year. We've been prepared for that for the last couple of years as we've built this team. And so we're prepared to do that.
Hey, Danny, just curious, what stood out to you just in terms of Kemba's leadership and what you were able to see this season?
Kemba is a great person. His leadership and being accountable, just the fact that what we're talking about, he didn't make any excuses. He came to play. He realized the moment that he was in. He's a player that has, understood how special it is to be here and to have these opportunities that he's never had in his career. But he has a smile on his face. He brings joy to the game and to the team and to the entire organization on a daily basis. And he's just great to be around. And that's why I just feel so bad. It was his first time on this big of a stage and this huge of a stage. And he gave everything that he had and he played well, but we know that that he wasn't himself. And, but he's a terrific leader and a terrific teammate and an amazing person.
Trying to develop a big man, a center, and trying to find one, it just seems it's difficult in the league. There's not many Adebayo types or types in this league that can just give you great production. How difficult has it been over the years just to find that guy? And then do you have to be patient with a guy like Robert? I mean, it's entering his third year. Can he be a difference maker in the paint, someone you envision that could be a starter and give you, what you need in that position?
Yeah, I think that, this is Robert's second year and he spent a lot of time injured, which has limited his development, unfortunately. Feel like he's getting healthy. We feel that his time in the bubble was huge. Just being around the coaches and having fewer distractions, he was really improving. I thought he played really well in a lot of the games. So yeah, we're very excited about Robert's future and what he can be. But yeah, it is hard to find franchise bigs. And there's, that's always been a case. But there's a lot of big guys and a lot of big guys that can play. And like I said, Daniel, Robert, and Ennis outplayed opposing big men often throughout this course of this year. I'm grateful for them. And, but Adebayo was good. Adebayo might have been the biggest difference in this playoff series. He's a terrific player.
Mark Murphy.
Hey, Danny.
Hey, Mark.
When you say you weren't good enough, how were you not good enough?
Well, we got beat, Mark. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, I think that if we played it again tomorrow, I think we have a chance, and we could beat them. Not that we would for sure. That would diminish what they accomplished. But I'm just saying that, we feel like we can beat Miami, but we didn't. And, they beat us fair and square, and they played better down the stretch of the games in that series. And I have great respect for them and all that they accomplished. I just feel like we didn't win. They were better than us right now. So we're going to try to get better.
Last couple of questions. John Corrales.
Danny, you see what Jaylen Brown was doing, not just on the court, where he was really playing very efficiently, but off the court, and the leadership role that he took as one of the players leading the social justice movement. What does it mean to have a player like that, especially beginning a contract extension, so he's going to be around for a while representing your team?
Well, I've said this a few times about Jaylen. I mean, he's an impressive young man. I'm really proud of him, how his game has developed from the time I met him. I'm not surprised. Nobody would be surprised that he has become a voice of our locker room, a voice of our organization. He's in meetings with our owners and with Allison Feaster and with Dave Hoffman, organizing the plans for social justice. So he is special. And I knew that from the first time I met him. And I'm not surprised, but I'm also not surprised with the progress that he's made as a player and how good a player he's becoming right before our eyes. And I think he's ready to take on bigger roles and bigger opportunities. And I couldn't be happier to have him on the Boston Celtics and be with him at this time of his career.
Chris Gasper.
Hey, Danny, how are you?
Good, Chris. How are you?
Good, thank you. I think chemistry can certainly enhance a team. I think we saw that from Miami, can enhance a collection of talent, and also can maybe diminish or detract from a collection of talent. In your opinion, with your team on and off the court, does chemistry enhance what you guys have put together on paper, or does it not enhance what you guys have put together on paper based on this season?
So I would say that the entire year, I heard nothing from our players or our coaches through game one of the Eastern Conference Finals. I never heard anything but how positive a culture it was, and how what a great team we had, and it was such a joy to be around. What a joy it is to watch this team play. I felt the same way. I really liked being around the team. I liked watching our team compete. I liked all the guys that I was communicating with. And then we had an incident that happened in the Eastern Conference Finals that put some of that in question, of all of the games the entire year, including 2 playoff round wins, into question. I would just say, I personally have been around a long time, as you guys can tell. And, I wouldn't overreact to those. I think our chemistry for sure was enhanced this year. Our team was enhanced by the great chemistry and great culture that was created here.
Keith Smith.
Hi, Danny. With 4 draft picks and an already kind of tight roster with a lot of guaranteed contracts, does that change how you approach the draft at all in terms of willingness to move those picks in trades or draft and stash and those kind of things?
Yeah, sure. You got to take all those things into consideration when you're drafting. I mean, typically you want to draft for the best player, not worry about positions. But we've all heard that rhetoric before, and that's true. But there are times when you need to draft for specific needs, and especially when you're drafting in the positions that we're drafting this year, and with the draft that we have this year. So, but yeah, we'll take into consideration all of the above, all of the players on our roster and what our needs are, who the best players are, and players that can help us more immediately. And obviously we take a chance on a player that was a younger player that needed some development in the G League before he was ready to play for us. We have the luxury of doing that as well. So all of those things are considerations.
All right. Final question for Danny. We'll go Brian Robb.
Hey, Danny. Romeo Langford obviously got hurt at the end of the year there. Just an update on his timetable. Is he expected to be ready for next year, and just what you guys hope to see from him after kind of a snake-bitten year for injuries for him?
Yeah. So when we drafted Romeo and him coming into the year, we knew that he wouldn't have a summer league last summer, and he was getting surgery on his hand and thumb, and we knew there'd be a little bit of a delay, but it has been kind of a snake-bitten year. He showed some really, really positive signs in NBA games at small doses, but in practice and in some G League games. And anyway, we think he has a very bright future. And what the timetable is, I mean, I'm not sure there's any benefit of me giving you a timetable, but I know that Romeo's in a good place as far as committed to getting healthy and committed to, having a dynamic year next year. And we'll just see how the off season goes. I mean, we don't even know when our season is starting yet. So we'll just, do the best we can and get him back as quick as we can and as strong and well-conditioned and ready to play next year as he can.
All right. We'll wrap it up right there. Thank you, Danny.
All right. Thank you, guys.